Hi guys, Harry here and welcome to my breakdown of Doctor Who Redacted Episode 2, Hysteria. And this episode it is revealed that this redacted from reality, all these people, is gone far wider than Episode 1. But before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below. Let's get into the video. So, we start on Doctor Who Redacted with their Abby explaining, should we trust the Doctor? Going over all these doctors in media, Dr. Crippen, Dr. Jekyll. Should they be trusted? Some doctors seriously need to work on their bedside manner. And this is a reference, obviously, to can they trust the Doctor? Can they trust Rani? What is happening with the Doctor? Is the Doctor killing them? Is this happening more worldwide? So it's a real good reference of doctors in media actually being villains most of the time, whereas doctors in real life are saving people. As they go through all these, all the information they have, there's another reference to Graham and Ryan and that the police are still looking for them. And as they go through all the files, Abby notices that most of her files have been corrupted. So maybe this is a reference to however this redacted is happening. Like, is it the same as just people being not to remember it? Are just computers shutting down as well, or have they? Or is there something else? Have the monsters of this series stolen these files, as the Doctor's friends stolen these files? But there's a lot of are these files being corrupted? How are they being corrupted? There's a lot of questions around it. There's also, Shauna draws on the fact that there's cop cars about, there's police cars are about, and they are going to the Khan's place, which is obviously Yasmin Khan, her family's home in the block of flats. So maybe Shauna lives in the same block of flats. And the police cars are coming, and also it's another reference to Yaz being a cop. But again, Yaz has been redacted, maybe. So, or is this a reference to Yaz just going off with the Doctor and her forgetting to reply? Like with Rose in Series 1, after her first 2 outings with the Doctor, she didn't go back. Well, she didn't call. She only called once, and the Doctor got the dates wrong, and she's been gone for a year. So it could be whether Yaz has been redacted, or it could be that she just hasn't phoned home in a while, and the Doctor's, going in time and space, and they're getting the dates wrong again for Yaz to keep in contact with her family. There's also they also talk about Cleo meeting Rani, as obviously Rani was the one that phoned Cleo, and it's revealed that it wasn't just left on the cliffhanger of the Doctor is killing us. Rani wants to meet Cleo, and they check out Rani, and Rani is a journalist, what she wanted to be from the Sarah Jane Adventures. And I think that is really cool, and that she's actually followed her dreams and become a journalist, and she's probably saving the world, as we'll get on to later, like Sarah Jane Smith did. The Blue Box files now open, now start, and they open on mass hysteria being when London's Royal Hope Hospital vanished and apparently went to space, which we know it did go to space, and that is the first episode where we get Martha Jones, and she eventually joins with the Doctor at the end of that episode. So again, we're getting a reference to the first episode featuring Martha, where we got the first episode featuring Donna in episode 1 SOS, minus obviously the runaway bride. So maybe we'll go back to Rose in episode 3, but that is just a speculation. But Royal Hope's Hospital, yes, from 2007, Smith and Jones. Obviously, the Doctor adopts the name John Smith when he's pretending to be a human, and obviously that is another reference to the Family of Blood and Human Nature, where he became a human and hid his Time Lord identity in a pocket watch, and Martha obviously had to look out for him to escape the Family of Blood. Those two. Family, Blood, Human Nature are amazing episodes, and also even before in Classic Who, there was a lot of the Doctor called himself John Smith a lot, so it's another reference to that. And of course, it says that this could be mass hysteria, which is the name drop of this episode, Hysteria, and I think it is great that the Royal Hope Hospital, because this was the first appearance of the Judoon as well, which are intergalactic, intergalactic space police. And they have been in the Sarah Jane Adventures as well, the Judoon. So that is another tie to the Sarah Jane Adventures between that and Doctor Who. And they say that obviously this comes up as they have found reports about the Royal Hope Hospital vanishing, yet the BBC deny anything about any bulletins or anything on the news, and that is 100% wrong.
Weird, because the police wouldn't say, they didn't have a clue, and I tried phoning. Mum's on her way, but she can't get through, they've closed off all the roads. There's thousands of people trying to get in, the whole city's come to a halt, and Dad phoned, because it's on the news and everything, he was crying.
Because there were reporters outside and the BBC News bulletin under it. So they definitely did. They did at least one feature on it, and it was a big deal. There was even interviews. The person we'll meet later, Dr. Oliver Morgenstein, did it in Smith and Jones, and also Turn Left, the nightmare reality Donna found herself in series 4. So that is another thing, that there was definitely interviews about it as well. So this is a weird thing, like, is their memory being corrupted, saying that, like, from the Redacted, or is this computer files being put up, or are they under pressure from monsters or something? I don't know, or have they already been taken over by the monsters of this series? And then obviously the thing that attracts them is the sighting of the police box, which they saw near the hospital, which we saw in Smith and Jones. However, only in 60% of those sightings is the police box considered vintage, and Cleo and Shauna bring up a good point, saying that 100% of the police box sightings of actual police boxes are vintage. So why is it only 60% of them seeing the blue box vintage, or is this another thing of their memories being redacted, playing tricks on them? I don't know, but it's just a little bit weird. So when the podcast finishes and they're all on their way home, Abby asks Cleo, I think just before they part ways, if she can get in contact with Penny so that they can actually use her voice and her name, which Penny didn't want in episode 1. But Cleo says she'll see what she can do. She phones Penny Carter, and there is the same thing of like the noise that the Doctor had when she phoned Cleo and left a voicemail, and that's what Cleo heard. It was that type of noise. Maybe it's the TARDIS's engines, but it just feels a bit weird, bit not exactly like it. So, or maybe Penny has been redacted. I don't know. Then Cleo comes home and she is obviously greeted by Jordan, and they have a fight about their mum and dad again, how their dad disappeared and how their mum was too harsh on Cleo. But there's another argument about their mum and dad. Anyway, Abby is the one who interviews the guest on the podcast this episode, and it is Dr. Oliver Morgenstein from 2007's Smith and Jones, and also 2008's Turn Left, played by Ben Ridgerton, but in 2008 Smith and Jones, but he is voiced in this episode by Kieran Hodgson. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he goes, "So you're a doctor?" And he goes, "Yes, still practicing like he was in 2007's Smith and Jones, although he is now practicing as a psychiatrist, not just I don't know what he was just practicing in Smith and Jones, but he is now a practicing psychiatrist, so he's obviously switched. He's still being a doctor, but he's switched his field of expertise. And I just want to say that Dr. Oliver Morgenstein is a big thing, really, even though he's only appeared in 2 episodes, because he was the one that they were interviewing most of the time.
And all seems to be remarkably consistent. This from medical student Oliver Morgenstein.
I was there. I saw it happen. And I feel uniquely privileged. I looked out at the surface of the moon. I saw the Earth suspended in space. And it all just proves Mr. Saxon right. We're not alone in the universe. There's life out there. Wild and extraordinary life.
He was the one that was with the Jadoon the most of the time, and in this episode it is revealed that he has wrote a book on his experience of going to the moon, and now he thinks it is a mistake, and it was actually mass hysteria he experienced, which is the idea of the episode. And he goes, and Abby brings up a good question, but you all have the same idea. How could you all think you had went to the moon? And he brings up a good thing. An idea can spread like a virus. We know how much viruses can spread ideas in this time now. Like, obviously, the coronavirus is still around prominently. And if you think it's not a real thing, you're stupid. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but you're stupid if you think coronavirus is made up. But anyway, on from that, he goes, an idea can spread like a virus. In North Carolina in 2002, a group of cheerleaders suffered the exact same seizure, despite being both different physically, but they all experienced the same seizures. And another example he brings up is Portugal 2006. A group of girls experienced symptoms of a fictional virus they saw in a teen soap, and they all thought they had the same virus, but again, it was just fictional. And he even says that his memory of going to the moon is hazy, so another reason why he thinks his book that he wrote was wrong. And it was revealed that people judged him a lot as he had to self-publish, and is even weighing on him as he goes venturing into what happened on that day has just brought him heartache and pain, really, and people act like he's a weirdo. And he brings up Martha Jones, obviously the companion of the Doctor, and he says that she was obsessed with the Doctor and she suddenly vanished, obviously alluding to her going on her travels after Smith and Jones, and her not going back to work until she goes back home, but then Unit hires her, so he wouldn't have seen her. And he says that he remembers the Doctor being there, and remembers him being the Doctor, and he is dangerous. So then this sets off Abby's alarm bells, thinking Cleo is in trouble. And I think that is great. It just shows that they are real people and they look out for one another. However, Abby phones Shauna, and Shauna brings up a good point of them saying what can they do, as she doesn't want to be a subject of the Blue Box Files. And this is really important in the universe because they are real people with real lives, and yeah, they're a subject of the Blue Box Files. They've had their lives turned upside down, as Dr. Oliver Morgenstein said. It's brought him heartache and pain, and all these people now vanishing because they know the Doctor is scary. Anyway, Jordan and Cleo eventually are going to this hotel to meet Rani, and Jordan says, I've never seen this hotel when I used to just work round the corner. I've walked past here every day, and they were never here when I was doing my construction work. And it's made me think of 2011's The God Complex. That took place in a hotel that was swiping up people from different planets and putting their fears in this hotel. But again, so I think, is this the same place? But I think it's a different place. But again, it's just something weird. Maybe something similar to the Lodger, where there was a spaceship taking the appearance of the second floor on top of the roof. And there wasn't, and it was just a spaceship there. Maybe it's a similar thing in this instance. So, when Jordan and Cleo go into the room Rani is told by the receptionist, Rani comes up by a hologram that she says she got from a friend, Mr. Smith, which was obviously the super intelligent computer Sarah Jane had in her attic. And this draws a nice parallel that they're still using Mr. Smith. He's still around, and Rani is carrying on the fight that Sarah Jane left behind. And Cleo brings up reference to Princess Leia, saying Rani is like Princess Leia. I think that is great. They're two badass characters. They're not the main story of their franchise they're in, but they're still a badass female character that can kick a lot of butt and do a lot of good. Anyway, it is then revealed that that there is no one else left, and Rani can't be there because this is contagious, them being redacted like a virus. A lot of virus settlements, and obviously being brought up with the hospital, the Royal London Royal Hope Hospital. So there's a lot of references to viruses and hospitals and doctors in this episode. But there is no one else left. Luke, Clyde, Joe and Martha have all disappeared. So Martha's been redacted, a Doctor's companion, Joe Grant, who was companion of the third Doctor, has been redacted, and Clyde and Luke, obviously in the Sarah Jane Adventures, they've been redacted. There's no mention yet of Skye being redacted, because remember, Skye was a character at the end in the last series of the Sarah Jane Adventures, and she remembered Clyde even when everyone else was turning on him. So maybe with her physiological difference, because she's alien, she's safe from this redactedness, and that's going to come into play later on. However, she says to Cleo and Jordan, the Doctor in their TARDIS, or the Doctor and their TARDIS, I need you to tattoo it on, like, wherever you can see. Another reference to the Doctor Who enemy, the Silence. They are a race where you could not remember them as soon as you look away, so they had to write on their arm a tally mark whenever they saw them, or put an implant in their hand, click it, and describe the Silence, so they knew what they were fighting and how to fight them later on. However, it is revealed that they are the only ones that can help, and then she has to go, and there is only 3 of them left. So if that's including Rani, that is probably Kate Stewart and Petronella Osgood. But again, Madame Vastra hasn't been mentioned in this series yet, and we know she's going to play a part in it. So maybe it's back into Victorian times, as I speculated when I said that this was coming out in what I hoped for this series. But it's really good. And then a holographic Korath, I think, comes along and sees them and is about to teleport to Earth to kill all human life. And that is where we end. And it is another great cliffhanger. I think this episode was really great. A lot of Easter eggs of Doctor Who. Just a lot of Martha, a lot of the Royal Hope Hospital going to the moon, the Jejune, and even just references between the Doctor and viruses and hospitals and saving and killing lives. And I think that is great. Let me know what you think down in the comments below of this episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, share it out, and I will see you in the next one.